Welcome to IMIND.Trading. Are you ready to revolutionize the way you work? Do you dream of showcasing your data analysis in stunning dashboards? If your answer is yes, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Sam Parudekar, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this journey. Today, we are diving into the exciting world of dashboard creation for a coffee shop. Get ready to automate your tasks and present your analysis like never before. So grab your favorite brew, settle in, and let's start crafting your perfect coffee shop dashboard together. We will first begin by importing the data. In order to import the data, we'll first click on the data menu, and in data menu, we will select get data. In get data, we will select from file, and within from file, we will select from Excel workbook. Now here you will provide the location of the file coffeeshopsales.xls. Remember, the link for downloading this file is provided in the description of this video. So I'll click on the file and then I'll click on import. Now this will open the Power Query editor of Excel. So over here, you can see that you have transactions. So I'll click on transactions and it will give me a preview of the data. Now at the bottom, you will get three options: load, transform data, and cancel. So we will click on transform data. This will import all the data into the Power Query editor. The Power Query editor of Excel is a very important tool. And as we progress through this video, I'll make you understand the various features of the Power Query editor. So here you can see our data. Let us spend some time in understanding what is this data and what we would like to transform. So in the first column, you can see it is showing you transaction ID. That is perfectly okay. It is of the numeric data type. In the second column, it is showing you the transaction date. That is the date on which a particular transaction happened. Then in the third column, it is showing you the transaction time. But if you notice that the time is preceded with a date, from this column, we would like to clean the date part and maintain only the time in hours, minutes, and seconds format. Now, the next column is transaction quantity, and this column is perfect. It's of the data type numeric. After the transaction quantity, we have the store ID. Again, it's in the numeric format. Then we have the store location. It's in the character format. Then you have the product ID, which is in the numeric format. And then you have the unit price. Now let us make this into currency. So we click over here and we change it to currency. And we will select replace the currency. So you can see now it's in the currency style. Then you have the product category. This is also okay. Then you have the product type. And finally, you have the column product detail. Now, if you notice this column carefully, then you will notice that at the end of this column, you will see some words like RG, LG, SM, and in some places it is also blank. So RG indicates regular size of the coffee. LG indicates large size of coffee. SM indicates small size of coffee. And wherever it is blank, it is assumed to be undefined. Now, what we would like to do is we would like to create a separate column called as size. And in that column, I would like to extract RG, LG, SM, and where it is blank, I would like to substitute it with undefined. So let me show you how you can do that. So first we select the product detail column, then we click on add column, and then we select conditional column. In conditional column, we give the name to the column as size, and then over here we select product detail if it contains LG, then substitute it as large. Again, we would like to add clause product detail contains RG, then we would like to substitute it with regular. Again, product detail contains SM, then we would like to substitute it with small. And if it is anything other than large, regular or small, then we would like to have it as undefined. Then we will click on OK. Now you will see an additional column is created called as size, and it has extracted wherever it is RG, it has made to regular. Wherever it is LG, it has made to large. Wherever it is SM, it has made it to small. And wherever it is blank, it has made it to undefined. Now we would like to remove RG, LG and SM from the product detail column. In order to do that, we would select product detail and then click on transform, and in transform we will select replace values. Now here we will type that wherever it is RG, replace it with blank, and then we will click on OK. So wherever RG is there, it is gone. Same way, again we click on transform, replace values, and again we will type wherever LG is present, replace it with blank, and then we'll click on OK. And finally for SM, so again we click on transform, replace values, and wherever it is SM, I would like to replace it with blank and click on OK. Now you can see RG, LG and SM has disappeared from the product detail column. However, it has left some blank spaces, what are technically referred to as white spaces. So I would like to extract those white spaces. In order to extract the white spaces, I would click on transform, and in transform I would select trim. So here you will find in the format you will select trim. So the extra blank spaces from the column has got deleted. If you would like to check that, then what you can do, you can add one additional column, and in that column we will select extract and we will select length. Now we'll bring the length column close by, and you will see the length of Ethiopia, Ethiopia, is 8, and the length of this column is also 8. Same way, spicy eye opener chai is also perfectly 21. So we have deleted or trimmed the leading white spaces. I will undo this last step by clicking over here, and that additional column has got deleted. Now click on Home and select Close and Load To. In my example, it is ghosted because I have already done that step. However, you have to click on Close and Load To. Then it will open a dialog box. In that dialog box, you have to select Existing Sheet and Add to Data Model. Once you have done that, you will reach back to Excel like this. And it will show you the name of the file as book 1 or book 2. So we would like to save this up to this step. So we'll click on File and then we will select Save. Specify the location where you would like to save it. And give it a name. In our case, I will give it a name as Coffee Dashboard, and I would click on Save. Now the file has got saved. Now we would like to return back to our Power Query editor, and in order to return back to Power Query editor, click on Data. In Data, select Get Data, and from here select Launch Power Query Editor. And this will bring you back into the Power Query Editor along with your data. Now, if you go to the right side, you would notice that the data type of the size column is ABC. Okay, so we click over here, it is showing you as numeric ABC. So we click over here and change the data type to text. So now the data type of the size column is changed to text. Finally, what we want to do is we want to create one column called as total bill, which would be the product of transaction quantity and unit price. So let us bring the unit price and transaction quantity close to each other. So I drag transaction quantity and bring it close to unit price like this. And now I want to create one column called as total bill. In order to create a column, we will select add column. In add column, we will select custom column, and over here in the dialog box which comes over here, we'll give the custom column the name as total bill. And over here, we'll construct the formula is equal to transaction quantity multiplied by unit price, and then we would click on OK. So you can see the total bill column is created. Let us drag the total bill column close to quantity. So quantity, unit price, and now we have the total bill over here. Let's change the data type of the total bill column to currency. So we click over here and change the data type to currency. Now let's come to the transaction time column. So I drag a bit to the left, and here you can see you have the transaction time column. So I will click over here to select the column. Now I want to get rid of the date part and maintain only the time. So I'll click on transform, and in transform I'll select extract text after the delimiter. We want to extract the text after the delimiter. So what is the delimiter? The delimiter is the space. So I give a space and I click on OK. So it will extract the data which is present after the delimiter. Let's change the data type of this column to time. So we click over here and change the data type to time. Next, we'll extract the name of the month from the transaction date. So we'll click on the transaction date first, then click on add column, then select date, then select month, and select name of the month. So you will see that one column gets added on the right side called as the month name. Same way, we want to create another column called as name of day. So we select transaction date, then we click on add column. Again, we select date, and then we select day, and we select name of day. So you will see that one column gets added at the end called as day name. Next, let us extract the time part from transaction time. So we will select transaction time, then we would click on add column, then we would click on time, then hour, and finally hour. So you will see that one more column gets added called as hour. Finally, we have to close and load the data back to Excel. So we click on close and load, and again select close and load, and this will bring you back to Excel with the data uploaded and updated. So when you go to the right side, you can see the month name, day name, and the hour in the latest updated format. Now, after coming back to Excel, you would notice, especially in my computer, in the menu bar on the top, you would notice that there are two new options. One is the developer, and second is the power pivot. Well, you might not have either of these options. So let me first show you how to get the developer and the power pivot options in Microsoft Excel. In order to get the developer option, we would first click on File. From here, we would click on More. In More, we would click on Options. In Options, we would click on Customize Ribbon. And in Customize Ribbon, you will put a check mark next to the developer option and then click on OK. And you'll get the developer option in the menu bar of your Excel. Now, after you have got the developer option, In order to make the power pivot option also available, here's what you will have to do. First, you will have to click on the developer option, then click on COM add-ins and put a check mark next to Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel. Then click on OK, and you will notice that the Power Pivot option is also now available in your version of Excel. Next, we would create a new sheet called as Pivot. So I'll click on this plus icon for new sheet and I'll rename this to Pivot. So all the pivots required for our dashboard, we would be saving them in this particular sheet. We'll also create one more new sheet and rename that sheet as dashboard. This is where our actual dashboard would be present. Let's come back to our pivot sheet. Now over here, we will first insert a pivot. In order to insert a pivot, we click on Insert, and in Insert, we select Pivot Table, and in Pivot Table, we select From Data Model. Then we will say within the existing worksheet, and we would click on OK. Then you will see in the right side where you have the heading Pivot Table Fields, you will see two icons. In both the icons, it's written as transactions. However, in one of the icon over here, you will see an orange database like a figure. So that's what we want. So click on the arrow next to it. And over here, we will select hours. So we select hour and drag it to row. And then we would select transaction quantity and drag it to values. So we can see that at what particular hour of the day, what was the transaction quantity. Now we want to make a graph, a line graph out of this. So in order to make a line graph out of this, ensure that your cursor is anywhere inside this pivot data. And then we would click on Insert, and in Insert, we would select Graph. And in Graph, we want a line graph. So let's select a line graph. So you select a line graph like this. And our line graph is ready. Now, looking at this line graph, you can come to know that in the morning, in between 10 to 11, there is a maximum peak of customers for having coffee. So this is the ideal time when our customers come and there is maximum consumption of coffees over here. So this is something which we got to know because of the pivot and because of the data. Let's cut this line graph from here and paste it into our dashboard. So we select the line graph, we right click on the line graph and select cut. And then we go into our dashboard and right click over here and select paste. Now let's format this chart. So first we bring the mouse pointer to any of these two buttons. Then right click on the button and select hide all field buttons on the chart. I also do not need the legend, so I click on the legend, right click on it and select delete. I would like to change the title of this graph to quantity ordered hour-wise. So I would change it to quantity ordered hour-wise. I would also like to give x-axis and y-axis title. So I'd click on the chart and click on this plus icon and select axis title. Now for the x-axis, I would rename the title to hours, and for the y-axis, I would rename the title to quantity. Now I would like to give round edges to my chart. So I select my chart like this. I click on the fill option and I scroll down, and here you get the rounded corners. So if I click outside, you'll see you get these rounded corners. One more time, I click on the chart. For the border, I select no line. So there would be no line for the border. And in the effects, we would give a shadow, and in the shadow, we'll select the first preset. We'll select the chart first, then we click on the effects, and in the effects, in the presets, we select this preset. So you can see we get a shadow. So for border, let's select no line. So we get a chart, and even for these lines, if you want the markers to be visible on this particular line, then click on the line, then click on the fill, and here you have marker. In marker, we would select marker options. Currently it is none. So let's select built-in, and from here let's select a diamond. Then we would also click on effects, and in effects also we'll give it a shadow effect. So you get a kind of shadow for your graph this way. Now we'll move this to the top left corner somewhere over here, and also size it like this. So our first chart for our pivot is now ready. Now let's come back to our pivot sheet and ensure that your cursor is anywhere inside this pivot, and let's rename this pivot. In order to rename this pivot, click on Pivot Table Analyze and click on this drop down next to Pivot Table, and let's change this name from Pivot Table 1 to Quantity Ordered Hourwise. So let's change it to Quantity Ordered Hourwise, and let's hit End. Now let's insert one more pivot table. So again we click on Insert. First click outside in a blank area, then click on Insert, then select Pivot Table and select From Data Model. Select Existing Worksheet and click on OK. Now in the row, I want D-wise. So I click on the transaction and I'll scroll down and I have this day name. So I bring the day name in the row-wise column, and in the values, I want total bill. So I select total bill and bring it on values this way. Now, if I want to change this to dollars, so I can select this, I can click on home, and I can change it to currency. And if I want to change the currency to dollars, so I click on this drop down and select dollars. Then let's rename this pivot. So we click anywhere on the pivot, and then we click on Pivot Table Analyze and click on this drop down, and we'll rename this pivot to Day-wise Total Bill. So I write down Day-wise Total Bill and hit End. Then I click anywhere in the blank area, and again I insert one more pivot. So I click on Insert and I select Pivot Table and I select From Data Order, Existing Worksheet, and I click on OK. Now in the rows, I want month-wise. So I scroll down and I select month name and bring it over here. And in the values, I want total bill. So I bring it over here. And then I want to format this to dollars. So I select this. I click on home and change it to currency. And I click on this drop down and make it to $. Now I want to rename this pivot. So click anywhere on the pivot, select pivot table, analyze, click on this drop down, and I will rename this to month-wise total bill. So remember, now in our sheet, we are having 3 pivots. This is the first pivot. Name of the pivot is month-wise total bill. This is the second pivot. Name of this pivot is day-wise total bill. And this is the third pivot. And name of this pivot is quantity ordered hour-wise. Now, if you notice, the days of the week are not in the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday order, but they are arranged alphabetically A to Z. In the same way, the names of the month are also not in January, February, March order, but they are arranged alphabetically A to Z. So let me first show you how to sort them in the order of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and the months in the order of January, February, March, and so on. So for doing this, you will first click in the menu in the data option, and from there you will click on get data, and from get data you will select launch Power Query Editor. Now once the Power Query Editor has started, click on transactions and then click on the column called as transaction date. This would select the transaction date column. If on the top it shows you that this preview may be up to 8 days old, click on refresh. Ensure that the transaction date column is selected. Then click on add column, and in add column select date, and in date select day, and in day select day of week. So one column gets added, and there you can see the number as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. That's the day of the week. So if you scroll down, you will see there are many records. And they will be sorted in the day of week fashion. Now we'll again come to the beginning and select the column transaction date once again. Again, we will select add column. Again, we will select date. However, this time we will select month. And again, we'll click on month. So one column gets added called as month, in which the data is at the 1, 2, 3, 4 order. So 1 is January, 2 is February, and so on. And same way in the day of week as well. Now once you have done addition of these two columns, then click on the home menu and select close and load. This will bring you back to your original Excel sheet. However, you will not see the data sorted yet. In order to sort the data, we have to do the following steps. First, click on Power Pivot, and in Power Pivot, select Manage. Now, scroll to the column where it is titled as Month Name and select that column. Now, after selecting this particular column, you have to select Sort by Column. So, click on Sort by Column, and then it will ask you sort which column, the month name column, and basis what. So, I'll scroll down over here, scroll right at the bottom, and select month. Then click on OK. And now it will sort this column in the January, February, March, and so on. Same way, select the day of week, and again click on Home and select Sort by Column, and select day name and sort basis. Click over here, scroll down, and select day of week, and then click on OK. Now, after you have done this, you can close the Power Pivot. So just click on File and select Close, and give it some time, and in a short while you will see the data getting sorted. So here you can see now the data is sorted in the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so on up to Sunday. And here it is sorted as January, February, March, and so on. Now I want to make a pivot with day-wise orders placed. So in order to do that, I'll click anywhere in my blank sheet and then click on Insert. And in Insert, we will select Pivot Table from Data Model in the existing worksheet, and then click on OK. Then I'll click on the Transactions file, and from here I will select Day of Week. So I click on Day of Week and bring it to the rows. So instead of this, I want I want Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I'll just move it out and come and select day name and bring it over here. So here you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And in the values column, I want to show transaction ID. So I will select transaction ID and bring it over here. And I don't want to show sum, but I want to show the count of transaction ID. So I click over here and select value field settings. And from here, I'll select count and I will select OK. So now I'm getting a pivot in which it is showing me day-wise orders placed. Now I want to make a graph out of this. So in order to make a graph out of this, I'll click on Insert and I will select a column or a bar chart. So let's select a simple 2D column chart. Now I will cut the graph from here, Control X, and I'll go and place it into my dashboard sheet. So I come into my dashboard sheet and I press Control V. Now let us begin formatting this chart. So I'll right click on any of these buttons and I will select Hide all 3 buttons on the chart. Now I do not need the legend, so I click on the legends and I delete it. Now I want the axis titles, so I click on this plus icon and I select axis title. Now for the x-axis, I would like to give it a title like day of week. And for the y-axis, I would like to give the title as orders placed. So I will say orders placed. And then I would also like to change the heading to day-wise orders. So I will change the heading to day-wise orders. Now let's format this chart to match this chart. So I'll click anywhere on the chart. Then I'll click on the fill option, and in the field I'll select border and I'll scroll down and I'll select rounded corners. So now the chart has rounded corners. Now I would like to give it a shadow effect like this. So I click on the second icon, select shadow, select presets and select the first preset like this. Now I do not need any borders, so I will select the chart and select no line. So now it resembles very much like this chart. And then I can just size the chart so that it matches with approximately the size of this particular chart. You can always come to know the size and width of the chart by clicking over here and selecting size and properties. In size, you'll come to know it is 6.27 by 10.21. So we'll select this and we'll select size. So we'll say 6.27 by 10.21. So now both the charts are of the same dimensions. Now let us make another graph which will show me the sales of top 5 category-wise products versus their total bill. So let us go to the pivot sheet, come to a new location and select insert, then select pivot table and select from data model. Select existing worksheet, the same location and click on OK. Now we'll click on the transactions tab and scroll down and select product category. And drag the product category to rows. So here you can see the product category. And I will drag the total bills to the values column. Now I want to see the top 5 products. So I'll click on this drop down. And from here you have the value filters. And I'll scroll down to top 10. And instead of 10, I'll make it to 5 and select OK. So these are my top 5 products. Now I want to make a graph out of this. So again, I will select insert and I will select column or bar chart and select the first one. Then I will cut the graph from here and go into the dashboard sheet and paste the graph over here. Now let us format this chart. So first I will right click on any of these buttons and hide all field buttons on the chart. Now I do not need the legends, so I select the legends, right click on it and select delete. Now I will change the title of the chart to sales of top 5 product. Now I would also like to add axis titles, so I'll click on the plus sign and select axis title. For the x-axis, I will give the description as products category, and on the y-axis, I'll give the heading as sales. And then I will click outside. Now I would like to change the formatting to match with this. So first, let us size it up. So remember the dimensions are 6.27 by 10.21. So select this and change to 6.27 by 10.21. Then click on the fill option, scroll down and select rounded corners. So we get these rounded corners. Then we don't want any border, so no border. And then I want to give a shadow effect. So in presets, I select the first preset. And my chart is ready. I'll close this and I'll drag and bring this to the right. Move this to the side. So this is my first chart. I'll keep the second chart and the third chart. And some place I'm keeping for the slices. Then over here we'll keep some headings. So let us make some space for the headings as well. And my first 3 charts are ready. So here I create a heading, Coffeeshop dashboard. I'll keep some summarized controls over here. I'll keep some slicer control for managing it. And we'll make 3 more graphs at the bottom over here. So I'll show you how to align it and how to space them in a short while. Now let us make another chart which will show us location-wise footfall. So we'll click on the pivot sheet, come to a new location like this, then click on insert, then select pivot table and select from data model, select existing worksheet and select OK. Then click on the transactions tab and from here we will select location, store location and drag it to rows. So you can see our 3 locations, Astoria, Hell's Kitchen and Lower Manhattan. Then we will select transaction ID and drag it over here. Now it is showing me sum. So I'll click on this drop down over here and select value field settings and select count and select OK. So now it is showing me location wise footfall. Now I want to make a graph out of this. So select this pivot, then click on insert, select graph and select simple 2D graph. Now we will cut this graph, Ctrl X and come into our dashboard sheet and paste it over here, Ctrl V. Now I want to format this particular graph. So let's bring this graph in the center like this. Now, first I will right click on the buttons and select hide all field buttons on the chart. Then I'll click on the legend, right click, and I would delete the legend. Then I would change the chart title to location wise footfall. So I will type location wise footfall. Then I want to add axis title. So I'll click on plus and select axis title. For the x-axis, we'll give the title as location, or we'll say store locations. And for the y-axis, we'll give the title as footfall. Now we'll format it. So remember the dimension 6.27 by 10.21. So we select this and type 6.27 by 10.21. Then we want to make it rounded corners. So click on fill and line, scroll down and make it rounded corners. Select no line, click on shadows and select the first preset, and our location wise footfall is ready. So we'll drag this chart and bring it below this. Now let's make another graph which should show us the size of the coffee mugs versus the orders placed. So let us go into the pivot sheet, come to a new location, select insert, select pivot table and select from data model. Select existing worksheet and click on OK. Now from the transactions tab, let us scroll down and select size. Drag the size to rows. So here you can see you have large, regular, small and undefined. Then we'll go on the top and select transaction ID and bring it to values. Now it is showing us the sum. However, we need the count. So we click on this drop down. We select value field settings and change it to count. And then click on OK. So now looking at this data, you can come to know that the regular size of coffees is bringing us the maximum revenue and the small size is bringing us the least revenue. Let us make a graph out of this. So let's click on insert. Let's click on 2D column chart and we get a chart ready. We will cut it from here, Ctrl X, and come into our dashboard and paste it over here, Ctrl V. Now let's bring the chart in the center and let's begin the formatting. First we'll right click on the button and select hide all field buttons on the chart. Then we'll click on the legend, right click on it and select delete. Then we'll click on the chart title and change the chart title to size wise orders placed. Now we want to give axis titles. So we click on the plus sign and select axis title. For the x-axis, we give the title as sizes. And for the y-axis, we give the title as orders placed. Then let us format it. So the size should be 6.27 by 10.21. So select this and change it to 6.27 by 10.21. Then we want to make it rounded corners. So we select this and we click on fill and we make it to rounded corners. Then we click on shadow, we select presets and select this preset. So our chart is ready and we don't want any lines, so no line. Ensure that all charts don't have any line. Okay, and then bring this to a location over here. So our size-wise orders placed chart is now ready. Now let's make a final chart which should show all the product categories versus the total sales. So let's go to the pivot sheet, click on a blank location, then click on insert, select pivot table and select from data model. Select existing worksheet and select OK. From the transactions tab, scroll down and select product category and bring it to rows. So you'll see all the product categories. Then scroll down and select total bill and drag it and bring it to values. Now we want to make a pie chart out of this. So we'll click on insert and in insert we'll select pie chart and select a 2D pie chart. Now we'll cut the pie chart from here and come into our dashboard sheet and paste the pie chart over here. We'll bring the pie chart in the center so that we can format it. And let's begin the formatting now. So first, let's see what is the size dimensions we want. So it should be 6.27 by 10.21. So we select this and change it to 6.27 by 10.21. I believe it's correct. 6.27 by 10.21. So this is also 6.27 by 10.21. Now we want to make the corners rounded. So we click on the fill. We come down and select rounded corners. Then we click on no line. Then we click on shadow and select the first shadow preset like this. And then we'll change the title. So we click on the button and hide all field buttons on the chart. And let's change the chart title to category-wise product sales. So category-wise product sales. Now our chart is ready. So we'll drag the final chart and bring it to this location. Now let's insert the slices, which will give an interactive feel to our dashboard. So let's make some space for the slicer. So what we'll do, we'll select the chart and we'll just size it a bit. So I'll right click on it, format chart area and select the dimensions and make it a little bit small, something like 6.03. And the width I make it as 10 centimeters and hit enter. And same way we want to do for the others as well. So I select all the others and click on the size and change the size to 6.03, and the width I make it to 10 centimeters. So all of them have got sized up now. Now we'll take this a bit to the side like this, so that we have some space for our slices. And let me show you how we can insert the slices over here. In order to insert the slices, click on the pivot table and click on any pivot. Then click on insert, and in insert select slicer. Now in slicer you have to decide you want the slicer on what feature. So I want it day wise, day name wise, and month name wise. So I put a check mark next to day name and month name, and then click on OK. So my two slicers are ready. I select the first slicer, Control X, and come into my dashboard and paste it here, Control V, and just ensure that you are on a blank area and then Control V. And then come back over here, select the second slicer, Control X, and come back here and Control V. Let's size the slicers. So again, we select the slicer settings or size and properties for the slicer, and we change the height to something like 5.9 and the width to 2.83. Same way we do for this, and we change the height to 5.9 and the width to 2.83. Now we'll bring the slices close by so that you can see their effect, and let's do a bit of formatting so that the charts look presentable. So what we'll do is we'll click on view and we'll say I do not want to see the grid lines, I do not want to see the formula bar, and I'll click over here and I will say full screen mode. So now you have additional space at the bottom. So let's select these two slices, make them slightly wider so that you can see the month names also. And let's make this, try to make it complete. So you have Saturday. Okay, both are of the equal height, so it's okay. Let's make some space on the top for edits. So what we'll do, we'll select all of them like this by keeping the shift key pressed and drag them down so that we have some space on the top for our titles like this. Now we want to align these charts. So we select this one, we select this one, and we select this one. And we want to align them on the top, as well as we want to adjust the space between. So we click over here and we'll select always show ribbon. Temporarily we are turning the ribbon on. And then we click on shape format and we select align. And in align, we'll select distribute horizontally. And in align, we'll say align top. So equal space is there. Same way, we select this and this. And again, we go in shape format and we say align center. We select this and this, shape format, align center, this and this, shape format, align center. So our charts are ready. Now let's turn this off. So full screen mode. Now if you see, when I click on Monday, there is no corresponding action happening over here. Same way for the months also, no action is happening over here. This is because the link is not established between the slicer and these pivot graphs. So for doing that, what you have to do is first you clear the filters by clicking here. Then you right click over here and you have report connections. In report connections, you put a check mark next to every pivot present in your sheet. So it will show you all the pivot names which you have designed in your sheet. Ensure there is a check mark next to every pivot sheet and then click on OK. Same way you select this table, right click, select report connections and ensure that there is a check mark next to every sheet like this. Then click on OK. So now if I want to see the performance for Monday, I click on Monday and I can see the performance only for Monday. If I want for Tuesday, I can see the performance only for Tuesday. If I want to see for all days, I'll clear the filter. Same way, if I want to see for January, I can see for January. If I want to see for February, I can see for February. And if I want to see for all months, I click over here. Now we want to give a kind of a heading for our dashboard and insert some measures. As well as we would like to change the color schemes also. Now let's change the color scheme of our dashboard. So let me just temporarily click over here and always show the ribbon. And then you can see that I've provided you one sheet called as color. And I've given some X codes of the color and the corresponding colors. So first thing is this light gray color is something which I would like to give to my entire dashboard. So what I will do is I'll click on the color sheet and select this hex code and Control C and copy it. Then I'll come to my dashboard. I'll select my entire dashboard this way, click on the Home tab and click on the Fill Color and select More Colors and select Custom. And over here, I will type that, I'll paste that code over here and click on OK. Right now, I've already pasted it. So in my case, I'm clicking on Cancel. But in your case, you'll click on OK. So what happens is that when you select the entire sheet and when you click on this fill color, you will see that color over here as the recent color. So I'll click over here and you will see I get a gray background for my entire sheet. Now I want to change the colors for schemes for these charts. So I select the charts, all the charts this way. Then I right click over here and we select format the objects. So here you can see when you select all of them, the field options are appearing ghosted. Only what you can do is you can size them. So let's do it one by one. We click only on the first chart and we want to give it a kind of a solid fill. And we want to adjust the color of the solid fill. So we click over here and these are our recent colors. Remember, I've added the colors using the technique which I just showed you. So let us select this Okay, and then same way, let us fill this also solid color. Let us fill this also solid color, and this also solid color. This also solid fill, and this also as solid. If something goes wrong, cancel it. Ensure only the chart is selected and give a solid. Then I want to change the color of these bars. So ensure that your bar is selected and click on the fill color and ensure that as color for the line over here, you select from here and let's select this brown color for the line. So the line gets a brown color. Let's select these bars, click on the fill, and again we'll select the brown color, and same way select this, again fill. So you can see that we are trying to match it with the color of the coffee. Okay. So let's select this also, fill it with the coffee color. Now, when it comes to the pie chart, let it be different colors itself, because there are different items representing different colors. So if you right click and select format data series and you click on fill, and if you change the color to this, you can see all of them becomes brown, which we don't want. So we want to vary colors by slice. So we select one by one each of the element. Okay, so we select this, we come over here and we change the fill color, maybe here like this. We select this and change the fill color to this. So somewhat nearing the matching coffee colors, we are selecting. You can also use some of the colors from the top as well. Then we'll change the color of the headings. So we select the heading and we change the font color to a dark font and make it bold as well. And same way over here also, not the fill but the font color and bold. And same way here, bold, font color. Same way here, bold and font color. Bold and font color. Bold and font color. Same way for the axis title also, we make it bold and font color. So the more time you spend on this, the more presentable your chart looks like. So again, font color and bold. Again, font color and border, and again font color and bold, font color and bold, and font color and bold, and font color and same way we will do some settings for our slicer as well. So the moment you click on slicer, you get this slicer option, and then from the menu you can select a kind of color scheme and select this. And from here also, from the menu, you can select a kind of color scheme. And now our slicer, let us see. You have the slicer for a particular day. You have a slicer for a particular month. And you can even clear the slicer settings. Now we will see how to attach a dashboard, title, as well as measures. Now let us study how to create measures. In order to create measures, we click on Power Pivot, and here you have measures. In measures, we will select New Measure. Now we give a name to the first measure which we create as sales. And here in the formula, we'll give a simple formula that is sum of, and we'll select total sales, so total bill, that would be our sum. So you can even check the formula, it would tell you whether there are any errors. In our case, no errors. And then select currency and change the currency to dollar United States. So we'll select English, United States, we'll scroll over here. And 2 decimal places, and then we'll select OK. Now, in order to bring that value of measure into your dashboard, you have to do one additional step. That is, you have to click on the pivot sheet like this and copy any pivot. So we select this pivot, we copy it and paste it over here. After pasting the pivot over here, you would right click on the pivot and select Show Field List. In the field list, you can click on these store locations and remove them, value locations and remove them, and click on these transactions and scroll down. And here you will see your measure sales. So bring it down to values. So it shows you your total value over here. Now we want to bring this value into our dashboard. So we click into our dashboard, and over here we insert illustrations, shapes, and we insert a rounded rectangle like this. And now for this rounded rectangle, we want to get the formula value over here. So first you go into view and you say, I want to view the formula bar. Then come over here and select equal to, and come into pivot and click over here, get pivot data, and then click on edit. Now if it gives you this error, this formula is missing a range or reference, just select OK and cancel this off. Come back to your pivot, and over here just type equal to and just select this and hit enter. It corrects the formula. Then come back to your dashboard and then click over here and type equal to. Come to pivot and select this value and then click on enter. So you will get that value over here. To make it nicely visible, you just change the color. So you click on home And the fill color, you can change it to this color. And after the text, next to the text, just hit enter. And over here, you want to write down total sales. So I will write down total sales. And then you can select all of them and you can increase the size and you can even center align it. So this is how we have done. And if you want, you can make it into currency and select United States. So the dashboard also shows you in the currency format. And you can slightly increase the size of the text as well. And you can make the values bold. Okay, so our first measure is ready, that is the total sales. Now, in the same way, I want 3 more measures, so I will just Control C, Control V, and bring 1 more measure here. Control C, Control V, and 1 more measure over here. Control C, Control V, and 1 more measure over here. You can select all the 4 measures like this and go in shape format, align, and down. Shape format, align, and distribute horizontally. Then move them a bit to the right so that we have some space for the coffee shop sales dashboard, logo, which we want to write over here. Now let's change the headings and the new measures. So here I want the data should be total footfall. So I will change, instead of sales, I want total footfall. And over here, I want average bill per person. So I will just select this. And just change this heading to average bill per person. And we'll select this and change this heading to average order per person. Now we increase the size, or rather what we'll do is we'll select this text and we'll go in home and reduce the size to 12. Same way we'll do for the others as well. So we reduce the size to 12 and reduce the size to 12 and reduce the size to 12. Now total sales is correct. However, for total footfall, we want a measure. So again, we click on the pivot and we click on power pivot and we click on measures and we make a new measure. Now this time to the measure, we'll give the name as footfall. And in the formula, we'll give as distinct count of, we'll select transaction ID. So let's scroll down and select transaction ID. This is transaction date. This is transaction ID. And we close the parenthesis. And we check the formula. And we'll keep it as general. And select OK. So a new measure has been created. We have to give some time for Excel to do the processing. Now, we'll again copy the pivot down. So we'll select this, Control C, and we'll copy it down here, Control V. Then we'll right click over here and we'll say show field list, and we'll remove the sales, and instead of sales, we want the footfall. So we bring the footfall over here like this. And now I want the footfall in my dashboard. So I equal to, and I click over here and hit enter. And then come into my dashboard over here. And over here on the top, I will type equal to, and then I'll click on pivot sheet and click over here. And then click on enter. And then I can go at the end of this and just change it to total footfall. And then just select all of them and change it to the size of 12 and bold. Now we want to find out the next, that is average bill per person. So again we go into pivot, and again we click on power pivot. Again we click on measures and we select a new measure. This time we'll give the measure the name as average bill. So average underscore bill. And the formula for that would be sum of total bill divided by distinct count of transaction ID. So we'll say sum of total bill. So we'll scroll down till we get the total bill. Close parenthesis, divided by distinct count. We say distinct count of, and we will select transaction ID. So scroll down and select transaction ID. This was transaction ID, and we click on OK. Seems like the name didn't come. So let's do again. Divided by distinct count of, scroll down and select transaction ID and close the bracket, and then hit enter, and then check the formula and then select OK, and then copy this pivot down. So you can give some time to Excel in order to finish the calculations. You can see all the progress at the bottom. So you'll select this, Control C, you'll paste it, Control V, and then we'll right click over here and select show field list and remove the footfall. And we scroll down and we select average bill, and then we close this, and then we'll say equal to, and select this and hit enter. And we can go into home and reduce the number of decimal places to 2 spaces, to 2 decimal. Come back to your dashboard, click on the rounded rectangle. Okay, and then over here you type equal to, come into pivot, click on this value, hit enter, and then come next to it, hit enter, and write down average bill per person. So average bill per person. Select the data, change it to 12 and make it to bold. Same way, finally, we have to make the last measure. So we go into pivot and again we click on power pivot. Again we click on measures and we select a new measure. Now we create another measure and we give it the name as average underscore order. And the formula for that would be sum of transaction quantity. So we select transaction quantity. Here you have transaction quantity divided by distinct count. So we select distinct count of transaction ID. So for average, we have selected sum of transaction quantity divided by distinct count of transaction ID. So we'll scroll down and here you have transaction ID, close bracket, check formula, select OK. Give some time to Excel to finish the calculation. Now we copy the pivot, Control C, Control V. We right click on the pivot and select show field list. And then we remove this average bill and we scroll down and we select average order and bring it here. And then we come here and we type equal to and click over here and hit enter. Select this, click on home and reduce to 2 decimal places. Come back to your dashboard, click on the measure. Then over here you type equal to, come to pivot, select the control measure, hit enter, come to the end of this and hit enter and type over here average order per person. Average order per person. Then select the entire text, increase the font, make it to bold. So our 4 measures are also ready. And finally, we want to make a coffee shop logo. So Control C, Control V, and we bring it here. And we increase the size like this. And we select everything. And in capital letters, we type coffee shop sales. We select everything and we increase the size. We take it a bit to the left, so we align it left and increase the size. And finally, I want to insert some coffee pictures. So I select insert, illustrations and icons. And here I will type coffee. I select this icon, select insert, and then I'll drag and bring this icon here. And I will size it up. This. Now, in order to see our final result, we click over your view and we'll say don't want to see the formula bar and click on this drop down and say full screen mode. And this is your dashboard ready. So you can click on Monday and see the sales for Monday. You can click on Tuesday and see the sets for Tuesday. You can press shift and select another day as well, like this. And you can see a combined sales for the 3 days, like this. You can clear the filter by clicking over here. You can see all the measures, even on the top, everything gets changed. And you can see the performance for a particular month as well. Or you want to see for specific 2 months, so January and February together. So you can see a performance of 2 months as well. And finally, you can clear the filter. So friends, hope you have enjoyed how we have studied to create this wonderful coffee shop sales dashboard. And remember, I have provided a link below this video for downloading this Excel file in which you'll find the entire data, the pivot table, and the color theme. And don't forget, if you like this video, please share, subscribe, and like. We'll see you again in the next video. Till that time, goodbye.